Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Real Estate Served on the Rocks. My name is Charlie Sardelli, and as always, I am here with
Jameson Amaros,
Oscar Ibarra,
the fearless trio over here. And guys, we are with on YouTube at Living in Colorado, the Mile High Perspective, just 3 Colorado realtors that love bourbon and want you guys just get in on the conversations we have around real estate because we can help you out a little bit.
Yeah, and it changes so goddamn fast.
It's so fast.
So
I mean,
fast.
One article drops like we're going to talk about today, and everything goes crazy.
What's
Whiplash.
What's the
Whiplash?
the scene from Batman? Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
everybody
everybody
goes
bats an
insane.
eye. Yeah.
That's kind of what.
You know
it
what?
feels
I've never seen that Batman.
What?
I've never seen that
Batman.
What are
All
you
right, we're stopping
doing?
the podcast.
I've
and
never seen that
Oscar's
podcast.
gonna go watch that.
Wow.
That Batman I've never seen. I've seen
You've
all
never
of the
seen
rest
Heath
of them.
Ledger as the Joker,
I've never seen.
Bro.
I know the story and what happened.
No,
but
it is the greatest performance of all time.
Hands
because
down.
I always said
Greatest
the
performance of all
best
time.
Joker is
Mark Hamill.
what's his name, the singer. He does that one movie.
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto.
Yeah,
Whoa,
Leto's a
God.
great Joker.
Oh, Jesus.
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
you
is
got it.
almost as bad as Charlie not knowing what Rain of Fire
Ah,
was.
shit. Damn it.
Yeah, Oscar, you got
All right, Oscar's got homework.
Yeah,
I got
Oscar's
homework.
You got homework.
Well,
You-
guys, like I said, we like to drink bourbon on this podcast, and if you're just tuning in, you're actually on the last week of our Old Elk series. Old Elk was nice enough to send us a couple bottles to test out and review for them, so keep an eye out. We're going to post some videos from
Which
those
one is this one?
podcasts. So this one that we're drinking today is Old Elk's straight bourbon whiskey, straight blended bourbon whiskey?
Blended Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Blended straight bourbon whiskey. Now, what's cool about this one?
What is straight
Yeah.
blended?
So, what's really cool about this bottle is that it is very malted rye heavy. I have not. Yes, exactly. Jameson said it should be sweet. I have never seen something like this.
It's a dark. It looks dark
It
in
is
the bottle.
dark, right? It makes sense as to how it could be a rye, but with Old Elk, this one is aged 4 years. But this is the what was that? Oh, yeah.
Can't pour left-handed.
I can't.
So
I
this-
can't pour. Period. I got tennis elbow right now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Charlie.
No, you're fine. So this bottle is 88 proof, so lower, a little bit lower in the alcohol than we have had from them.
Jameson said 88 proof. Let me pour
Pour a
myself.
little
Let me
bit
pour
more.
myself a little bit more.
So the mash bill on this is 51% corn, 34% malted barley, and 15% rye. Just to give you guys an idea, all the other Old Elks that we've tried have only been 3 or 4% malted rye.
Right.
Right.
So you're saying 34?
34%, so 4 times more than traditional
So this should
mash bills.
taste like a goddamn brownie.
Yes. Yeah. Right. It should be sweet. It should be kind of. I have the tasting notes here again, and like
It is
dark.
You know, and I want to say thank you to Old Elk for sponsoring us, let us review their bottles. I really like the drinkability of all the ones that I've tasted. So hopefully we end on a strong note.
Well, and I like this one. So this one, just to give a little bit of background of it, like I said, Old Elk, and we talked about it
What's on
regularly.
this glass? I thought this had like.
I think it's
some,
like cleaning,
some like design on
I think
it.
it's hard water.
hard water.
Hard
Yeah.
water. It looks like hard freaking. I could scrape it off. It's on the
PG-13.
outside. Okay,
But
we're good.
so with this one,
die.
this specific bottle, the blended straight whiskey, it actually won 2018 gold in the San Francisco World Spirits, and then in 2020 it won gold best Colorado whiskey and 2020 gold international whiskey competition.
Nice.
So going, and obviously this is still by the same distiller that we've talked about over 25 years of experience. All that stuff plays into this. And they actually, I was looking into it a little bit more, and this distiller came from one of the largest distilleries, which is NGP, and they distill for over 50 different bourbon companies across the country. So not only does he have that experience, but he has the experience of experience. Like he came from one of the main places, which is pretty cool. But I'm excited to kind of put this one on a taste challenge almost, because I've never had anything that touted itself as a high malted barley. Like we see high rye, we see wheated, we see straight whiskey, straight bourbon, whatever it is. But this one still maintains 51% corn. So on the nose, what are you guys getting?
0 burn.
Dough.
Yeah. I'm
Kinda
getting
doughy.
like cookie dough. I'm getting
Very, very sweet. Yeah.
it's like a
Doughy.
salted caramel. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I can't get past it. It's a very doughy, floury.
Yep. Yep. And just so everybody knows, so when you hear malted barley, really all they're doing is they're taking barley and they're soaking it in water. And then they put it through a heat test, basically, where they put it up to, I think it's at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And what that does is that just locks in everything in the barley. So it basically, like, think about it as a way of like flash freezing the flavors in a way.
That's how you get fresh sushi in Colorado.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Catch that fish, throw that bitch on ice, truck it across the country.
right.
Well,
Exactly.
they don't catch it at the Platte.
Huh?
They don't-
There's
they
a
go down to
couple.
the
There's a
Platte River
couple.
and-
You know, tuna schools of fish at
I'd be
Chatfield
very-
Reservoir.
I'm excited to smell JC's glass from at the end, especially because I feel like as this opens, it's only going to get sweeter.
I can't get past it. It smells like raw dough to me,
Yeah.
and which is not a bad thing. I just
I'm definitely, it's subtle, but I'm definitely getting that caramel and
Caramel.
a little bit of
Fucking
vanilla.
Easterner.
Little bit of vanilla.
Yeah, I got the salted caramel, vanilla,
I'm almost the dough is almost like right there, like married with the wood in the nose for me.
you know me. I'm like that movie Big Fish. Did I ever tell you when I was a baker? That's why I'm smelling the dough. My uncle owned a bakery in Commerce City for many years, and I'd go in there and help out.
Help
in
out a little
summers.
bit?
I was a kid in summers.
I feel like
I'd
this
go
is going to be thicker than a Snicker.
learn how to
Thicker
make
than a
bread.
Snicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I already tasted it, so I'm gonna wait till you
okay.
guys.
All right. I mean, just,
Thanks for waiting for the cheers.
I thought that's what we were doing, man. You know, I'm a little
Unreal.
off today.
Unbelievable.
okay.
All right, let's
Well,
just.
gentlemen,
I left
cheers.
the house
Cheers.
early, and I'm
Let's get the
here. And
first sip in.
I actually got here early, and
cheers.
Also, this table is so inconvenient.
I know, right? If you guys didn't realize, our table has changed. We've had some changes coming at the
There's a Grand Theft Auto.
of our
Just for
table.
our table.
we showed up,
So-
and the table wasn't here. We're like, wait, what's missing?
So welcome to our setup table here that we've
We'll get things figured out.
Frankenstein. All right, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and take the sip.
All right, I don't know about you guys. I just got kicked in the back of the throat with chocolate.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Chocolate. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a lot of chocolate.
I'm getting a little bit of like
There's a little bit of burn, like
black licorice.
What's different about
Yeah.
this burn though, is that it's an entire mouth burn.
Yeah.
correct.
Right?
I agree.
It's not.
It was
not
on the
just
tongue and the roof of the mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, from the start to swallow.
Yep. Now that first sip is gone, on the first sip, obviously you get that alcohol a little bit, but like Jameson said, it jumped right to the back of my throat. Tartness, almost like a dark chocolate, not a milk chocolate, a sweeter chocolate. And then now that dough, it's funny. Now, right when I make that sound, have you guys ever seen the video where the guy's like, you gotta
No.
taste it? It's all I hear. But it definitely, I'm getting that caramel and vanilla on the back end for sure with the chocolate.
I think my taste buds are off today. As we go, I'll have more.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not, it's funny because we had the weeded last week, right? And the weeded was a bakery dough, was a bakery sweet dough. With this, I'm getting a little bit more, I don't know the word, tightness, a tinge on my tongue than I did with the wheat. It's
Kind of
still,
like what you get with like anise, like star anise.
yeah,
Like kind of that.
yeah. It's
Not
not,
in
a
a bad
bad,
way.
it's still doughy. It's
Do
definitely
you know when
still,
you first drink Jägermeister? Kind of that black
on the back
licorice,
end. Though.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
back end.
With that kind of like over hovering
Yeah.
flavor. It
Yeah, I
kind
get
of
the
goes
licorice
in
on
that
the
realm
back
and
end.
comes
The
back.
aftertaste is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
is where I get the
All right,
licorice.
so let's see where we fell on it. So on the nose, you're supposed to get sweet vanilla and caramel, clove spice,
Clove, that's what I'm getting.
slight maple, and nutty almond.
I mean, the nutty almond and the maple for the dough.
I didn't get the maple as much. Maybe that's the wood I was tasting, but that sweetness kind of caramel of maple wasn't there. For
I'm getting the clove and the
clove for
the
sure.
almond.
Yeah, clove,
I'm getting those
almond,
too.
and a little bit of the caramel.
Just don't leave out the L. It's almond.
Almond.
all.
Are we doing this again?
Not almonds.
Almonds.
It's
We're doing
not
it again?
almonds.
So the tasting notes: maple syrup, almond, raw
There you go.
bran,
That a boy.
What was it? What was it?
Raw bran. Chocolate
Raw what?
raw bran. It just says bran. BRN.
I've never ever tasted raw bran.
Yeah. BRAN.
Yeah, like
One word or 2 words?
like
Two
2
words.
scoops.
Raw bran.
The cereal,
Oh.
raisin bran.
Raisin bran. Yeah, like an oat.
Yeah, like a note. Yep. Raw. Yeah, raw bran.
Got it.
Chocolate deep wood, and this one is
Deep
left
wood?
deep wood.
All right, what is deep wood?
And this one is
I mean, come on. What's deep wood? Let's define that, please.
this is a family show.
Because I know it's a family show, but I'm like, oh yeah, that tastes like deep wood.
From the podcast
Now
that
imagine.
brought you creamy
I
mouthfeel,
was
we
gonna
present deep wood.
Now we have deep wood.
Wow,
know, I
this
think
gives
I'm
me
gonna
a
have to-
creamy mouthfeel with a
I'm gonna
deep
start
wood
drinking
flavor.
vodka, man. This bourbon shit is for the birds. They got
The last
creamy
flavor
and
on the
deep wood.
taste, though, coconut.
And you know what?
Now, wait, hold on.
Coconut has different flavors. though.
Now, hold on. Reading the coconut, does sitting with it without taking a sip, sitting with it on your palate, does that not have this little sweetness of like coconut?
I hate coconut, so I don't
I mean,
know. I don't.
have you ever had coconut oil?
Yeah,
like
Yeah, that
yeah,
kind of.
had
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
it's a light sweet, but it's there for sure. Like I couldn't identify. I was
Coconut
talking
oil
about it
pisses
earlier.
you off because you taste the coconut. You're
Yeah.
like, where's the sweet?
Yeah, but it's
oil.
definitely that like it's
Yeah.
more of the plant side of coconut than the sweetness of coconut.
So it's like a castaway coconut versus like a pina colada coconut.
Yeah, exactly.
Got
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
raw deal. Coconut.
Okay.
Alright.
All right. We'll see how this thing opens.
I mean,
it's,
my first impression is it's kind of like a dessert whiskey.
yes,
Like it's like the port of whiskeys.
yes, and I would.
I would.
You know,
I mean, right out of
can see
the
that.
right out of the bat, I definitely.
I'd make an Irish coffee out of this.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah,
I would.
absolutely.
Make a Manhattan.
I wouldn't make an old fashioned.
Not an old fashioned.
Too sweet.
Manhattan.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think it would lend itself well to an old fashioned.
Sweet vermouth is sweet vermouth.
Yeah,
Depending on how much simple syrup you put in, you could ruin.
absolutely.
I don't think you would need any.
No.
I really don't.
Whiskey sour?
No,
No.
See,
I'm not a chocolate and sour. Like
if you made it with egg whites, I would do it in a whiskey sour.
Flip?
Yeah, I would do it in a whiskey
yeah.
sour for
A
sure.
flip would be good with this.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it just with like sweet and sour and whiskey.
As
But-
it sits, you could smell more of the
yeah.
of the sweet,
Okay.
the chocolate. and all that.
Interesting.
Yeah, the
The-
coconuts throw me off, but I'm not a coconut fan. So
But
I
it's
think it's
subtle.
because I
It's-
haven't. No, I
it's-
know. What I'm saying
yeah.
is like because I don't
Eat it.
partake in coconut, even though it's legal everywhere.
For me, it was always a texture thing because I think almond joys, and they
What
always
joys?
had this, almond joys. Sorry, almond joys, and they always had like the coconut in it was always like the stringy
Yeah.
coconut.
Yeah, I
don't like the stringy
Like
coconut.
we were in Jamaica
I like almond
like
joys
5
and
years
mounds,
ago,
but-
and I had they give you the coconuts and you drink out of them or whatever. And it's like coconut water. Like to me, it tastes like I'm drinking lotion, and I just don't. I don't know, like watered down lotion. I don't like it.
It's an acquired taste.
It is.
Because
It is.
now
It
I
is.
like coconut water, but it took me a while.
I
I
like-
like the pulpy one.
I'll drink a
which
pina.
is how the hell does it turn kind of gelatinous? I
Yeah,
don't understand that part.
Exactly. I mean, I'll drink a pina colada every now and then.
Jameson's over here like coconuts are just weird. I don't like them.
Yeah.
He's like, if you like coconuts, you're not my friend.
Yeah, I just don't.
Jeez.
Somebody's like, "Hey, you
I
know
hate
what? Does
coconuts."
that palm tree have balls? I want to eat one of those. Let me just chop it off. Let me go castrate this tree. See what's inside."
And then take 30 minutes to open it.
Exactly.
Get what's inside.
Like
Absolutely.
you don't. There's nothing on this planet to drink that you have to work harder for, and it is also very, very anticlimactic when you actually have it. It's like this is just water, but not quite water.
It's for the health benefits.
It's milky water. I'm gonna go jump in my cold plunge while drinking coconut water.
You should.
Maybe I'll
know-
just fill up the cold plunge with coconut water.
Boom.
That's I don't know though because if it
Shit.
cools, will it
That-
get gelatinous?
Ah,
Then, I'm back to the lotion aesthetic.
Jameson is just sitting in a ice bath of
bath.
lotion.
Guys, I don't know how I
hating life
feel.
because he's cold and drinking coconut water.
I don't know how I
It's like
feel.
it filled with aloe coconut. Just like this isn't
You ever
good.
seen the there's a GIF or like it was a Vine, and it was the little kid covered in peanut butter, and he just goes, "Ah,
Yeah.
that's how I would feel." Jameson, how is it? Ah,
That's great. Oh man. Well, guys, as we sip through the
coconut.
the coconut, yeah, the bourbon.
put the lime in
Now I
We're-
can taste the coconut.
God,
Yeah, right.
Fuck, I hate this.
On the back end.
it is
Absolutely. Yesterday or a couple days ago, we had I fear saying bombshell dropped, but that's what it's starting to feel like with anything that comes out around the economy or what the Fed's doing with rates. Because, like you said, it could be, dram and rates have been going down the last 3 weeks, but they're still up high, right? And what we're going to talk about today is the federal government, the Fed, came out and said that
Federal Reserve, not
Federal Reserve, excuse me. Federal Reserve
The
came
FBI.
out and said that they expect to do 4 rate decreases in 2024 because of how good the economy is doing.
Now, understand, when he says decreases, sometimes it's an eighth of a point.
It's rate hikes versus rate cuts.
Right, and that's trending in a positive way. Even if it drops, I mean, if the 4 equal 1%, I think that's healthy.
Well,
so we'll get into that.
Put it this way: if you guys are, obviously you get the news articles, Fed rate hikes, Fed rate cuts, whatever, and it's always measured in basis points, right? So you'll see like 275 BPs. If you've ever worked with any company that follows key performance indicators or KPIs from Best Buy people out there, it's just a way to numerically explain what they're doing, right? So when we say they're going to potentially decrease the rates, or an Oscar says it could be an eighth of a point, right? So for example, you may see that the Fed are going to cut the rate by 25 basis points. All that means, if you guys are curious, is if the federal fund rate is at a 5.75, they're going to chop off 0.25, which would bring it to a 5.5 rate, essentially, right? So if you see whatever, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because there's been multiple articles. Some of them are saying 4 rate hike or rate decreases. Some of them are saying up to 6. What essentially is happening is the economy is showing signs of slowing when it comes to inflation has come down, but the jobless claims have started to creep up a little bit. They're still low, and consumer spending is down. So what the Fed is trying to do is they're trying to cut without needing to cut for a recession the next year. And the reason I bring up the basis points is most of the projections, have the the cuts being 275 basis points total. Now that is going to be spread out over 4 or 6 rate hikes, but at 275 basis points, that's essentially 2.75% that they're going to want to cut. So if we're at a 5.75, we're looking to be closer to a 2.25, 2.45 by the end of next year.
Yep. And you got
just so you guys kind of understand what we're talking about.
That's the technical verbiage for that.
Yep.
I think what's his name? Warren Buffett said 1 in 1 million person knows and understands inflation. So you don't have to understand all this. What Jameson is saying is, so the way that interest rates work, they give out a base to everyone, and then they add to that. So prime plus 2. So if it does go down to 2.5, that means if it goes 2, we'll be sitting in the 5s, 5.5, which is good because it was forecasted that in 2025 we would be back to 5.5.
Yeah.
Well,
which is a great. I think that is a great rate.
I feel like I have to, and for one level lower of an explanation, government do better, government make better for us. Is basically what it's going to come down to. And guys, an important note on all this, like we've talked about it, we're all feeling it. We know that we've all had these conversations where it's hard right now for everybody. But
did you go to Best Buy on Black Friday?
Oh yeah. Well, let's.
No. But my point is,
did you see the Target?
That is
Black Friday. They were pulling out the.
But I'm
Black
saying
Friday
that's the whole
sales and
point.
those
That's
sales
one of the
behind
key indicators
Yes.
that we're looking for.
Exactly.
We're looking for people essentially to stop spending so much money on superfluous things, which is going to bring inflation down, which mortgage rates follow inflation, and mortgage rates follow inflation because when the Fed says, hey, banks, if you want to borrow money from each other, we're going to charge you less. They then charge interest rates less on their side, and the whole thing cascades.
And we're in the industry of front running, right? And when I say front running,
lagging and front running, it's kind of funny actually.
We feel it first, right?
We are. We're the tailwind for recessions, but we're the first. We're the
front runners of whatever
to come out of a
cataclysmic thing is going to happen, and because we're one of the highest assets that you're going to purchase, that everybody purchases.
One of the highest in necessary.
Right, because you could go buy Ferraris.
Correct.
Not everybody's buying Ferraris.
Right.
Everybody deserves and can buy a home.
Correct.
So whenever something's going to happen, we feel it first. So if there's a turn in, let's say, the stock market, that kind of triggers something in the interest rate. We used to say when the market is down, the rates go down, and the market's up, the rates go up, right? And that ties into inflation and the economy and how people are spending, because the stock market is based off your spending with these companies, right? So it's all tied in, but it's just a reflection of everything. There has to be a decision made to balance that by somebody.
Well, and I think the important thing to note on it too, and you know, we said it earlier about how reactive everybody is.
Sorry, there's noises in the background. And
This place is haunted.
We talk about, you know, how everything changes and moves, and one article drops and everybody, you know, goes crazy kind of a thing. But just as an example, when articles, you know, we got this information that the Fed was going to drop, right? Immediately I got 6 emails from lenders and other people going, look what's going to happen. Get ready. It's your time. And the reason that we want to talk about this and how we're going to we want to kind of guide this conversation a little bit is not only talking about what's happening and what that means, but what it could look like for the housing market, what it could look like for you guys, and why, you know, we've been saying for the whole last year, yeah, this is hard. This is the hardest it's been in the housing market for the last decade. But if you are prepared and you have the right systems to do it, and you see that now with things like this happening, with the rate hike, hey, it's coming down. Now people are pushing, hey, everybody has an opportunity. So everybody who is waiting and sitting on the sidelines is now going to start to come in.
Which that brings me to one of my current deals. One of my clients is going to go rent. I said, this is probably not a good idea, because the forecast was a forecast, and then you're the one that actually sent me this article, and I called my lender and I said, hey, you need to have this conversation. So it's not just coming from me. There's going to be an influx of buyers. That's going to drive prices up, and it's going to be harder to find a home because we still don't have great inventory. We have inventory, and there's some buyers, and that's kind of what's going on right now. But there is not enough inventory to say, okay, we have months of inventory.
Right. Well,
now.
and that's the important note here too. And what I was getting at, as far as like Oscar said, is it's going to have more buyers flood to the market, absolutely. But what people aren't thinking about in that aspect, in that element, is, you know, like, it seems hard now, but it's hard because of the price. The second that these prices get more bearable for more people, it's going to become hard because of the sale, because of the purchase.
Yeah, you're trading one hurdle for another. And I think what people aren't understanding, and I'm with you, and I know you've gotten them too, like, I think we're at 6 weeks in a row where rates have dropped, right? Which is good. And on face value, you're like, hey, this is great. But they dropped from 8% to 7%, right? And the thing that people continue to discount, and you both just brought it up, is the inventory levels are just not there. And there was a statistic that came out. I was looking at the mortgage rates, and refinances jumped 14% week over week, because we went from 7.4 down to 7.125 or whatever it is, right? And the reason they jumped is because a lot of those people are the people that bought at 7.5%, 8%, and you start to see, you know, inflation finally hitting people's pocketbooks. Because let's be honest, just because the Fed stopped cutting rates, we're still not seeing people run out of money because of all the COVID relief and everything else, right? So what's happening is people go, okay, well, I can refinance and I can
their equity.
I can save $200 a month on my mortgage. And to a lot of Americans, like, that's a big chunk of change. When you talk about what we said before,
I mean,
the average
$200 is $200.
Well, the average American has less than $1,000 in their checking account at any given time. The average American, out of 320 million people, less than $1,000 in their checking account, less than $1,000 in the savings account. So $200 makes sense. If you extrapolate that and look at the bigger picture, though, refis are still down almost 3% year over year, right? So yes, rates are coming down. And then if you look at new mortgage applications, they actually went down this week if you look year over year, because last year at this time, we were a little bit under 7%. We were like a 6.75, 6.8, somewhere around there. So the big picture is, yes, rates are sliding. And I think the thing that we want to try and answer for people watching and listening is, what do we think is going to happen? If, let's say, the Fed does drop it 4 to 6 times and rates end up in the high 5s, low 6s, what do you guys think is going to happen to the market?
Right. And
for the
again,
buyers and for the sellers.
We have to look at
split it up.
the hyper local of Colorado, right? We can't say that every market doesn't have the inventory, but here in Colorado we don't.
Crazy. So thank you for bringing that up. I had a comment on one of my videos the other day, right, as I'm holding a bottle of whiskey. Swear to God, I'm not an alcoholic, guys. and somebody goes, hey, we're a dual income family, and I can't even afford a $200,000 house.
Yep.
And I go, where are you at? Abilene, Texas.
Yep.
Right? So in Colorado, if somebody says, I can't afford a $200,000 house, you'd be like, no, that's weird. Because our average income is much higher, especially in Douglas County or County.
I don't even know where Abilene, Texas
but
is.
To Oscar's point, those are some of the things that make it hyper local. Where I'm also getting comments that there's still bidding wars happening in certain areas, right?
And even let's bring it to the hyper local. I was in a bidding war, with escalation clauses, and the purchase price, drum roll please, $900,000, and I was in a bidding war.
Yep.
I lost the bidding war, and I had escalation clauses.
Yeah.
And there was 4 offers. The house was on the market for 1 day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think
It's crazy.
That's the point. That's the point, though, right? Is the information we give is obviously going to be from a nationwide
Right. So we're going to
right?
take nationwide statistics and then kind of dissect them as we go.
Yeah.
Here in
'Cause
Colorado,
it's important to understand
and it's important. You know, I hate to even say this, but we always obviously use a good agent, because a good agent's going to have a handful of lenders. My lenders are my friends. They've been to my house, a lot of them. There's a few that we just have a professional relationship, but some of them have good rates for this client, and some of them have good rates for this client. And it's our job to see what fits and give them the option. Here's 3 of my top lenders that I think will work for you outside of personality. You choose. This one's good because of this. This one's good because of that. I have a credit union lender that did a lot of my loans lately. His rates were 6.375 the last few months. Everybody's in the 8s. He had a 6.375 FHA and first-time home buyer. Then I have my other lender that has a 6.99, but he could do a 2-1 buy down for less money, down 2 points, and that's better for some people because they could go conventional with the lower FICO score. So you got to understand all of that to make the wise decision, and that's where we come into play.
Yeah, and I think obviously what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen if this goes down? I think that we start with buyers, right? As a buyer, how do you prepare for these rate decreases that are going to happen? I think the first thing to think of is, your plan and how high you're willing to go. And the reason how high you're willing to go, what I mean by that is, what is your cap out price point? Because what's going to end up happening is we're going to go back to a situation where if we have a lot more buyers in the market and the inventory is still low, sellers are a commodity and properties are going to be a commodity. So you're going to have to be willing to either compromise in some areas and not get what you want to keep it below a price, or be willing to go up to a certain price if you love a home, if it checks 4 out of those 5 boxes. For me, that's where I think buyers right now can protect and plan for what could happen when the rates come down, because all that's going to happen, and I mean, every single time the rates drop below 7 in the last year, we get a 20% increase in mortgage applications, like that minimum 20%. So, and that 20%, if you're looking at Colorado, if a state could be an extra 10 to 20,000 people. You're looking at the country, that's 250,000 people that are applying.
The statistic itself, just based on average income of borrowers, is every 0.5% that rates drop, it unlocks about 2.5 million borrowers that will now qualify for an. Now again, this is average, right? Hyperlocal, obviously it's different, but these are statistics based off of a $400,000 loan. Okay, because the average house price is $485,000. 400,000 is 20, whatever it is, 20% down. So to your point, every 0.5 percentage point, it's 2.5 million buyers. To put that in perspective, we are on pace right now, I think this year, to transact 4.2 million homes throughout the United States from January to January. So if you're telling me that if the rates drop a full percent, it's going to unlock 5 million buyers, we're only transacting 4 million homes. The math doesn't math.
No, it doesn't.
Right? So I think that's why it's important and I've said this before, we've all said it before, don't run out and buy a house just because we're giving the information that, hey, it may get harder because inventory's not keeping up. But it is important to understand that if you're on the fence and you can afford it, as those rates drop every 0.5%, it is going to get more difficult to purchase a house at market value as we go forward.
Key point that Jameson brought up is that it's forecasted, and now there's articles saying that we're going to drop.
Right.
What you should do, maybe 2-1 buy down, talk to someone, buy now. You don't even have to wait the year to refinance. that's going to be a great thing. Now you have a little bit of backing and some knowledge to your decision moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a great point, Oscar. You know, and again, it's to that point. The normal consumer does not know what a 2-1 buy down is. I guarantee you, if we did a real estate survey on the rocks on the streets and carried around a microphone and went up, hey man, do you know what a 2.1 buy down is?
Do you know what a 3-2-1 buy down is? Do you know what LTV is? Do you know what your mortgage?
You guys aren't.
How many stars are on the American flag?
Right? Like, if we
47.
if we did something like that, I guarantee you that
Yeah.
95% of the people can be like, I don't know, you're giving me buy one get one free. Like, what are you talking about?
2-1
right?
buy down.
2-1 buy down.
I can buy 2 houses and put one down.
right.
Can I explain it to him about it?
Well, and yeah. If you go for it, I mean, we've done episodes on it, but my whole point in it is what you just brought up, right? Like saying, "Oh, prepare." This is why we do this, because you see an article that says rates are going to drop. We want you to go, "Oh, rates are going to drop. What's going to happen? Let me go check out Real Estate Served on the Rocks and click on it," right? Because we've talked about this.
Or pick up the phone and call us. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
I'd rather you pick up the phone and call me because I suck at emails like you
Right.
wouldn't believe. Pick
Right.
up the phone, call me.
Yeah. And so it's just coming. And again, I'm not saying like it's your fault for not knowing a 2-1 buy down. It's not what I'm saying.
It's our
this time,
job
right?
to inform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
And if your realtor doesn't know, get a better one.
well, and the whole thing is like
I'm just gonna
right
throw
now
that
you
out.
should be having these conversations. If you see something like that and you're in the housing market, you should be going, wait, how is this going to affect me? Let me pick it up. And if you have a realtor, awesome, pick up the phone, call them. If you don't, call us, call a lender. Like the whole reason that I bring it up is because this is a great opportunity right now. If you're ready and you know your budget, you know what you can handle, and this is a wonderful opportunity. Like when at other points in time, do you have somebody come up to you and go, "Hey, the stock market is gonna get good next year"?
I'm pretty
So-
sure that's
so-
illegal.
Exactly.
That's
right?
That's what what's her name went to jail for.
Right. But
Martha Stewart
yeah,
went to jail for
But
that shit.
But like that's
And you won't go to jail for this.
Exactly.
Sneak in there now.
but
Well,
that's why having the knowledge and having access to it is so important.
Well, let's give it a step further, right? So if you look at all the projections, and again, projections are projections. Doesn't mean they're going to come to fruition. There's a lot of shit that can happen.
Projections are predictions.
Yes, there's a lot of shit that could happen. I look at from a statistical standpoint, like what's the likelihood of the Fed dropping the rates, and it is high. But to give you guys like actionable intelligence, we're probably looking at those rate decreases happening second half of 2024, based on everything that we've read, based on the insiders that work with the Fed, based on hopefully at this point people wising up to what the Fed's going to actually do.
And what's going to happen towards the back end of 2024?
An election.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So,
presidential
but the reason I
election.
bring it up is if you guys are going like, well, what should I do now? Like, how can I prepare? Yes, I can have conversations with my realtor or with us or your lender, or your preferred, just somebody in the industry that knows what the fuck they're doing. Okay, not your uncle at your Christmas dinner table. Know that starting in January, let's say, you've got about 5 months to put together a plan if you're looking to buy a house, where that's coming up with the down payment, finding the loan product that best suits your situation, assembling a team of a lender and a realtor, putting together, your areas of, best to worst case scenarios, figuring out your budget. Spend the first 4 months of 2024 figuring that out. You may be surprised and say, oh my God, I'm actually ready to buy right now, which is great because you'll have less competition. But understand that if you wait and you're looking in the back half of next year because it's whatever your situation is, it could get harder, but at least you're going to be more prepared than I would say like 80% of the people out there that are looking to buy houses.
And I'm gonna pivot from your point and just cut it a little shorter. And here's the reason why. One, let's throw out the word forecast. What do we think when we hear forecast?
Weatherman.
The weatherman.
Yep.
How often does the weatherman get it right? It's a freaking
You know-
crapshoot. That's the only job you could get.
Listen, tangent-wise, I had this conversation with Caitlin the other day, and she goes, they said it was a 40% chance to rain. And a lot of people assume that there's a
know where you're
40% chance of it raining, right?
Yeah.
No.
No,
What
it's
it
not what it
means
is.
is in a given geographical area, the chance of rain is only projected to hit about 40% of that area.
And
that's it.
And it's kind of like
Just
an
saying,
algorithm,
like, just
right?
so you guys know.
They take
it's either going to rain or it's not going to rain. What they're saying is, well, in Douglas County, 40% of the area of Douglas County may experience rain.
And
So that means 60% aren't going to see shit.
they're
Fun
following
fact.
they're
Just so you guys
following
know.
trends
Yes.
and
Yes.
historical
Yes.
time points of that
Yes.
time, right? So that's what we're
And
doing now.
unfortunately, the weather is actually more predictable right now than the Fed.
So
The
with
US
that said,
government.
it's a forecast. It's a forecast. Yes, it's going to happen, but the way it's going to happen, it's likelihood of it.
Correct.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
So now, to my other point, you said now in the next 4 months, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of reduce now for the
Okay.
people that are on the fence.
Sure.
Do it now because one, they're gonna start dropping in a time point that I've always said that we've evolved back into a seasonal market. Seasonal market says from August to maybe February, it slows down.
Yeah.
Because it's winter here in Colorado, shitty weather, kids go back to school, you got all the holidays, you got the new year, and then it picks up in the spring. You're going to rate drop when things start warming up. So it's going to, one, that's going to increase, and two, you're going to do a rate drop. So it's going to be a double whammy, if you will, of people are going to start doing things. So if you can sneak in now and possibly get a 0.5% higher, do it. You're not going to be in competition as much. And then when people are fighting over price points and going up, you bought at a lower price point with more ease, and then they're taking advantage of the better interest rate. Well, you already have the house. Guess what? You could refinance whenever. Then you take advantage of that lower interest
Also,
rate.
you know, you guys can write off your interest on your house.
There's a few things on.
Just saying.
on
There's a lot of people that actually don't know that. That yes, you're going to pay a higher interest amount on your home, but you can write that off in your taxes.
And you know, it's give and take. It's like write-offs, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, you traveled, you could travel and write it off." Well, I still made the expense, but at the same time, there are a lot of things on the settlement statement that you get from when you buy a house that you could write off.
Yep.
So you save money somewhere. It's about the saving of the money.
Yeah.
Well, and I think obviously with the current market and the way things have been going, we've been, and I think most of the real estate industry has been focused on buyers, right? How are buyers experiencing this? How people can't buy? This isn't a good time to buy. All that, and it's almost as if like sellers have just been sitting back, just going, "Yeah, I'm just selling my house right now," right? And
Where's the paper boy?
Is that the guy from the scary movie?
No.
The little hand.
the
No,
Family
from,
Guy.
Family Guy.
Family Guy.
What haven't seen the paper boy in a while.
But
You're
that's
starting
exactly
to
what
piss me off.
That's exactly what it is. Literally, that's a good point. Sellers have been sitting in their house going, "Well, I haven't
Where's
seen
the buyers
at?" Right? And so what's great for buyers is also going to be great for sellers in this scenario, because again, we always talk supply and demand, right? If inventory does not look like it's going to get better anytime soon because builders can't keep up with it, you know, we have the trade and all this stuff going on with different lumber, all that stuff. But what's going to end up happening for sellers is once these interest rates drop and these 2.5% come into the market, you have a very hot commodity.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
and then we have to look at the percentage that we dropped from August the year before last.
Yeah.
So I think based on my listings calculated, I think I had always said that we were going to drop 7 to 10%. We were looking at about 15 plus.
Well, and what's great,
on
here's
some
the
of
thing
them.
that I think is
depending on price point, right?
is
Yeah,
great
it depends.
about it, because not only, yes, you know, supply and demand drives the market, whatever it is, inventory, but now think about the amazing opportunity that lends to people who are already homeowners. Yes, your home will be more sought after. Yes, you will get more money for your home, but guess what? You can tap into that sweet, sweet equity, baby, right? Like, because right now, as a seller, a lot of people who are selling their homes right now because of the way rates are the have-tos. I got a divorce. I got another kid.
I would
have
say
to
not a
move.
lot. I would say most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
A
what I
lot
mean,
of it.
most, right?
I would say most.
It at least from what I'm experiencing is they have to sell, because nobody wants to get into those rates right now. But not only will you have rates that are easing up, so it's easier for you to move, we're sitting in over $30 billion in equity across the country. Like, capitalize, people.
Yeah, and I think it's the short-sightedness that always gets me, right? Because right now, sellers, the only people that are selling their house, like you said, have to move. So from a buyer's standpoint, to me, that's a great opportunity, because from a leveraging perception, the buyer has more leverage than the seller does, because the buyer knows, they should, that if more likely, if I'm buying a resale home, that seller is incentivizing themselves to move because they have to, which means if you are putting in lower offers, you're asking for concessions, you're asking for more items on the inspection, whatever that looks like, the sellers are more likely to acquiesce because they have to sell. If it flips and you get the sellers back in the market that just want to sell, now they can wait it out. From the seller's standpoint, it's interesting because if I have to sell, people always look at the one side of the coin. They don't look at the other, right? They go, well, I'm going to lose money if I sell my house and I accept this lowball offer. True. However, in this current market where we're at now, if you have to sell and you take a little bit of a hit on your equity, right, because you're not profiting as much from the house, but you turn around and have to purchase, now you're the buyer in that same scenario, and now you can turn around and go, okay, this person has to sell, or this builder has to sell this house, so now I'm going to, whatever I lost on the sale of my home, I'm going to get back, and I'm going to get it back in a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down or seller concessions, whatever it is.
It's a catch-up game.
If you go to, so if you go to the market where the interest rates drop, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, congratulations, seller. On the sale of your house, you're going to make $40,000, $50,000 more than you thought over market. But if you have to go buy, you're now going to have to spend $40,000 or $50,000 more, which is why we have said forever and ever and ever and a day, don't try and time the market.
But again, it's also, yeah, exactly. But I think and this is something that we talked about episodes ago, and we only really touched on it, is the mindset behind the quality of life that changes between generations, right? And what we're seeing and what we have been seeing over the last 5 years is a shift from I want to make money to I want to have experiences, right? And so I see it being such a unique scenario where we're going to have more buyers come to the table, yes, but those buyers are more focused on their quality of life than they are the purchase price of the home. And what I mean by that is you can move out of the state that you're currently in, right? So like in Colorado, as an example, we've seen a decrease in population. We've seen more people moving out, all that kind of stuff. And that's because some people are going, wait a second, hold on. I love Colorado, but you're telling me that I can leave this state with $250,000 and move to bumfuck Kansas,
Abilene, Texas, baby.
Abilene, Texas, and buy a house for what the extra money I made on the house that I just sold. So, holy shit. Like, and the reason I bring it up is because we don't, I'm the same way. Right now, my girlfriend and I could move to North Carolina. We could buy a house, be happy, right? But I haven't yet gotten out of Colorado what I want. So I want to stay. And the sad reality of me staying is I'm going to have to spend more money. That's just what it is. But with this push and rates coming down and buyers coming back into the market, sellers, especially the age of sellers that would be selling right now, because we've already talked about it, boomers aren't getting, they're not moving. They're not selling. They're not doing it, right? And it's being proven time and time again. Market gets better, they're still not selling. So the people who are going to actually be in the market are the ones that are going to be willing to move, to sell and flip. So I think that this is going to be a good positive for both sides of the coin. Yeah. Versus normally is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market?
It's a good thing all around.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
for the people that can't buy, what's going to happen? Mortgages are going to be less.
Yep.
And guess what happens to the rental market?
Rent goes down.
Rent goes down.
Well, and not only
So
to mention,
it's good for the consumer all around.
Well, and it's funny because everything we talk about taxes and arrears, right? And I like to always say like everything happens in arrears. Because what's ending up happening now is in this current market, people aren't buying, so rentals are better. Well, rentals are better, so people are investing in rentals. And guess what's going to happen in the next 2 years? We're going to get a 50% increase in rental units. That's just in Denver alone. Or, 25% in Denver alone. Now, when this happens, the Fed rate drops, you have way more units available. So rent is going to go down, not only because mortgages are going down, but because there's more units. Because they were going, we're capitalizing, we're going to take on this rent. And now they're going to have to lease those places. They're going to have to
only that, but there's a record number of multifamilies that are scheduled to get completed within the next 6 to 12 months.
Well, speaking of multifamily, Shea Homes is selling single-family homes, houses that are not attached, with ADUs. They're constructing with already an ADU that's you could legally rent out.
Yep. So here's the other thing too. I think people need to understand. I'm a big holistic view type of person, right? And a lot of people will go, okay, what you guys are telling me is interest rates are going to come down, mortgages are going to be cheaper, but I'm going to have to spend more money, right? Or if I want to buy now, I have to be okay with spending more money now and then hopefully refinancing later. But you got to remember, like, mortgage rates are correlated with the federal fund rate that we're talking about decreasing. But what else correlates exactly to the Fed fund rate dropping? Credit cards, car loans, right? Like, you're talking about, people look at it and they say, yes, mortgage is the biggest expense, right? However, if you really take a look at it, you're saying that, I think Credit Union Endeavor does it every year, where they say, hey, if you move your car loan over to us, we're going to knock 2 percentage points off of your auto rate. And we'll give you 2 months free. Mm-hmm. Awesome, right? Well, if that's the case and the Fed fund rate drops from where it's at 5.38, 5.5%, goes down to 2.38, 2.5%, car loans are going to be cheaper. Your credit card interest rates are going to be cheaper. Your personal loans that you can take out to consolidate your debt are going to be cheaper. HELOCs that you can, if you already own a home and you want to consolidate that way, those are going to be cheaper. So you can get creative with, yes, you may take a hit on the mortgage initially, but when this rate does drop, holistically, you can actually make it overall cheaper for your lifestyle, because the mortgage is only a single part.
Yeah, any installments or revolving credit will take an impact on
and
it
I think
in a positive way.
I think what's really hurting too is I like your overall arching view, and the one thing that I will say, like, be weary of that when looking at mortgages. And the only reason I say that is because when you look at that and you see, and so many people are coming out about it, where it's like, if you buy now and then you refinance, your interest is going to make you pay this much more than what the loan originally was. Like, guys, you have to understand that when you're taking out a loan, interest is just part of it. Whether you're buying a car, whether you're buying a house, whether you're just a credit card, whatever it is, like, interest is part of it. And that's why it's so important to manage what you can with your monthly payments. And guess what? If you get a monthly payment that you go, I can pay this, and exactly to Jameson's point, cool, this is what I can afford. Now, when you refinance and you save that money, it's straight in your pocket because you already planned for the higher amount. And yeah, that sucks. It's the hardest thing to do is to sign a paper that's telling you, hey, you're going to spend more money than what this paper says. It's hard to do that. But at the end of the day, it's necessary. And if you want to buy a home, that is one of the most set in stone things. Like, nobody's going to come and hand you a loan and not make money on it. That's just not how it works.
Well, and to bring back what Oscar said earlier about having the team and having lenders that you trust in a plan in place, right? That's one of those plans. You may sit there and say, okay, here's all of my financial information. Here's when I want to purchase a house. Here's what I currently make and I can currently afford. Well, if you go talk to one of the lenders that Oscar uses or I use or Charlie uses, they can sit there and say, okay, here's what our plan is. I want you to take out a debt consolidation loan through Lending Tree or whatever it is. And right now you've got 4 credit cards that are at 29.5%. Okay. Well, we know that the Fed fund rate's going to go down. So about a month before that, I want you to take out a Lending Club loan, consolidate your debt card from 29% to 7.5%. Okay. Well, those loans, it's an APR, so it changes, right? So now you're at 7.5%. Well, then the Fed fund rate drops. Now you're at 5.5%. Your monthly payment just went down. You can now start putting that extra money aside for a down payment, and then you can be ready to purchase a house, compete for a house, whatever it is, in 6 to 12 months with a set plan, less debt, less stress, better financial health, all of that, just by taking the prerogative of going, I'm going to go find somebody that I trust, I'm going to talk to. I'm going to give them all the information that I need, and then that way we can make a plan in place. And in July, August, September of next year, as the market does slow down, like Oscar said, well, now you're in a great position, right? Your debt's done. You've saved up money for a down payment in a potential appraisal gap situation. You've done your research on all these different things. Now you can go as fast or as slow as you want. And then when you do move into a house, guess what happens? You got less debt. So you can spend money on the things that you want to spend on, whether it's furniture or remodeling or anything like that.
And at this point, I just want to put holes in my wall. I just want to customize where I'm living. You know what I mean? Like, and again, guys, don't forget, like, in all this, I'm renting right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I understand your struggles. I'm going through it myself, right? But I see what's there, and right now, it's not really doable for me, and that's okay. But I'm using this time to plan, right? But exactly to Jameson's point, it's knowing, it's having the knowledge, and we say it all the time, to prepare yourself and set yourself up for the long term, right?
And even to simplify Jameson's point, a good lender will tell you, you know what, you owe $4,000 on your car, your payment's $600. Instead of coming in with $20,000, how about you pay your car loan off, you save $600, and your payment's going to go up $50 on your mortgage. Now you just save $550.
I feel
A good
like,
lender will tell you that.
I feel like one plague of the social media existence that we live in now is that,
They give 3 dudes like bourbon with a microphone.
well, yeah, not only, yeah,
Well, they didn't give shit. We took this.
but what I mean is like it's you can feel like an expert without being an expert, and there's people who literally spent their lives doing this that have dedicated knowledge and hours of training and classwork to know this better than you do, and it's a hard thing to admit. I'm prideful in that way. I do my research,
Sure.
but I know when somebody's in an industry and it related to money, somebody knows more than I do.
Yeah.
And that's what lenders are. And it's not, we talk about it multiple times. Reaching out to a lender is free. You could, all 3 of us, you want to talk to a lender,
Talking
no
to
matter,
a realtor is free.
right? No matter where you
Well,
are.
unless this lawsuit goes through, then I'm charging.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
By the hour.
yeah, by the hour. We'll see how this goes. But like, it's just something to remember that, you do know what you know, but you also don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Easy, Dr. Seuss.
Right? And
It's true, though.
It is, right? And especially with something like this, when we have articles coming out and everybody's going, oh boy, here we go. Like, it's almost like I saw this article come out and I felt the collective energy of home buyers just being like, oh.
There's 2 articles that dropped 14 hours apart by the same news source. One said that they were going to drop it 6 times. The other one said they're going to drop it 4. The other one said they're not dropping it at all.
Yeah.
So 3 articles, right? So how do you do that? So that's the whole point, guys. Is we try and do this research for you so you don't have to. But I also encourage people, and we always do, to do your due diligence. Right? A good reporter, if he's reporting on a story, they used to have standards back in the day where they had to verify 5 different sources before they were even able to print something.
Have
and
you watched
right now,
Anchorman 2?
What's up?
Have you watched
Yes.
Anchorman 2?
Yes.
Anchorman 2, the beginning of that movie.
Yes.
is the most beautiful rendition of what happened to media.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
great.
that's what it used to be. And the beauty of having the internet and building relationships and talking to people for free, like lenders and realtors and whatnot, is it allows you guys that if you do see something and you go, I wonder how that's going to affect me, go talk to multiple people. I will guarantee you 2 things. Number 1, you'll get the correct information eventually. And number 2, you'll weed out the people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about
real fast.
very fucking
You could call out the bullshit
Yes.
fast.
Yeah, real
and,
fast.
And another thing, 1, we've done the research, and 2, we've been in the business long enough to where I'm going to speak from
we're in it every
real
day.
life, real
Right.
life experience. This is what I'm experienced with my buyers and sellers right now.
Yep.
This is what the research we've been looking at right now, and give you some information.
Well, I think this is a good time to move into the one rock takeaway for today's episode. But the one thing that I want to say is, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm scrolling through social media, when I'm scrolling and I'm trying to relax, just de-brain, the last thing I want to see is my real estate algorithm. But guess what? This is what I do. So it's like, no matter what I do, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever platform, even just my Google News feed.
Yep.
All I get is real estate stuff. Some
Not
bourbon,
me.
right?
Some of my media goes.
No, and it's just fed, right? And it's
Clear
just,
your browser history,
Cut-
bro.
I have to.
for the sake of if something happens,
Yes.
clear your browser.
Clear your browser history.
If you know me, you're gonna know what. The
Although,
hell I'm doing.
otherwise, we're gonna have a lot of fun at your eulogy.
No, it's gonna be a
It's
blast.
gonna be great.
I'm doing it on purpose. It's gonna be a
right.
celebration of my life.
Oscar sold homes. Most of them were brothels.
With his connections to the cartel.
I did try to sell a stripper a house once.
Yeah, there's 8 dudes with AK-47s in the back just staring at us.
that would be one hell of a web series.
Yeah.
From day one, trying to sell a stripper a house, and just go through and track it.
That same year sparked my engineering mind, and I drew out a plan on how, for a system, would be a ledger, an electronic ledger, so strippers can claim more money, and it'd be taxable income for the establishment. And
Oscar's out here doing God's work, people.
oh man, for the establishment and the stripper, they could buy houses.
I know, but right now you can get the no paycheck loans,
Yeah, yep.
Well,
Those are starting to
which
come
is
through
also
heavy.
super funny because the 2 people that use those the most, don't quote me on this. This is not a real stat. I feel like are doctors and strippers.
you know,
Check out the YouTube channel.
they're both doing God's work.
We
What
have
are
a
you
full
talking about?
video on how people who work in the weed industry can buy with those loans.
Exactly.
Check out the
weed
channel.
in- Oh,
Right?
and they have somehow found a loophole to do debit cards.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. What's happening there is incredible. I'll talk to you guys about that after.
I can't wait till they continue to expand the whole being able to use your rent as a qualifier for home loans.
We just signed up for Built. Built is the main
Yeah.
company, and basically what you do is you build your credit through paying rent.
Which to me is a fucking no-brainer. Like the fact that
Yeah.
hasn't been a thing before blows my mind. But
Yes.
anyway, I digress.
Well, I mean,
I
there
digress.
was
We're
something.
gonna go off. We're gonna go off on tangents.
Well, hold on,
for-
real quick. There was something there that just needed to expand on it with FHA.
Yeah, because what happens if a doctor marries a stripper, but they can only rent and they can't buy because they can't claim her income,
That's a good point.
and then they both smoke weed and they're like, "What the fuck do I do?"
But no, their investments are in the weed industry.
Yes,
There you
yes,
go.
Their
exactly.
income is crazy good though.
Yeah,
Both of them.
absolutely.
But no, FHA. If you didn't have a FICO score with FHA, they would do alternative trade lines like your cell phone bill, your electricity bill, and your rent. And
Shit, I'd qualify for a hell of a
It would
loan
be.
if I did that.
They still do it. It's to the discretion of the
I think I've
underwriter.
been since I turned 18. I think I've been late.
Which
on
also,
like
if you guys
one-
want to do some research on something, I believe it's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are trying to implement getting rid of TransUnion as a credit score and only using the bifurcation of 2 versus 3, which is not good. That might be a thing. So just
keep an eye on it.
keep
But
an eye on it.
What
Before we
did
go,
pay attention to your
before we
credit.
go too deep, let's move into the one rock takeaways for today's
I
episode.
have to go home anyway.
Right?
I have a holiday party to go to tonight, but
Jeez.
it's be lit.
I'm gonna sit back on this one. I've gone first the last couple episodes, so I'm gonna let one of you guys take the first one.
Go for it.
One rock takeaway is if you're sitting on the fence, time the market as best as you can. I know you don't try, but right now, if you could sneak in now, it'd probably be the best bet. Take advantage of a lower price and then the lower rate later.
Awesome.
That's what I would
Okay.
tell the consumer.
Mine is FOMO is a real thing. Fear of missing out is a real thing. And just like I felt, and a lot of people felt that they missed out on the 3% interest rates that were going on previously, if you're ready to buy right now and you know that these rate hikes are coming down, you're going to have some FOMO because it is a very good opportunity for somebody who is prepared to buy a house right now.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, and I want people to understand that human psychology is very much at play when it comes to spending money and taking risk. And what I think people are disregarding is how quickly we have become accustomed to 7% inflation, higher gas prices, higher food prices, higher housing costs, etc. It's taken about a year, right? And I think the majority of people are going, well, if rates go from 7.5 to 6.5, it's going to be the same because the affordability is still the same. You guys are wrong. You're underestimating how quickly the population got used to 7.5% interest rates. So when they see 6.5%, I am telling you guys, it is going to be like the scene from Lion King, where they drove the bison into that valley and killed Mufasa.
If you are a video game enthusiast, it's fire sale.
Yes.
Like that. That's legitimately what it's going to be.
It is going to be the bison's running in and Simba's going, oh my God, I wanted to buy a house. And the house they wanted to buy is dead because all the buyers of the bison just ran those motherfuckers over.
I will edit that for you.
Thank
I
you.
will edit that
Please
for you.
do. But that is what's going to happen. And I'm just reiterating that it's not going to happen at 4% because we're not going to see that again.
No.
It's not going to happen at 5%. It's going to happen at 6.5%. The only way it gets better is if we hit about 5.5% or a little bit lower, it starts to unlock those people that are locked into those 4% interest rates that go, okay, you know what? I don't have to sell, but this makes enough sense to me, and the gap isn't that big to where I can put my house in the market and move up. But until that happens, I am telling you guys, at 6.5%, Lion King.
You're probably not going to see this, but to the guy who's running independent and is pushing 3% interest rates to help the housing market, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're a fucking idiot.
I'm sorry,
You're
but
an idiot.
Do some research.
yeah, sorry.
Well, and then I like to come from experience, right? What I do and all that stuff. I wouldn't tell the consumer to do something I wouldn't. So when I saw the interest rates as low as they were, I dug holes to move because I knew we were outgrowing the house.
Was that to bury bodies?
But you had to bury some bodies. Seriously,
It was weird. We had 3 competing offers. I can't get a hold of any of those 3 people
there was a
anymore.
nudge because of COVID, because my office was in my basement in my old house and I had no windows and I was going batshit crazy. And interest rates were so low. I say, if I don't take advantage of this now, I'm going to lose out. I did a lot of consolidating.
FOMO.
I paid off a lot of debt. I stopped spending in places where I did what I had to do to take advantage of that scenario, and it wasn't easy. I mean, I had a good chunk of savings. I mean, that was my nest egg. I depleted everything, paid off debt, and then put the rest in
Get
down
a good
payment.
team together that cares about you.
Yes, and I took advantage of
use
it.
them.
So when I'm telling you
That's it.
this, I'm not telling you this because it's my job. One, it is my job, but two, I did it myself. Take advantage when you can and strike while the iron's hot.
Yep.
All right. It is now time to move into the bourbon review.
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't know about you, but I think we started with the wrong Old Elks.
I think.
Therefore, you are.
Well,
Hey,
ew.
the reason I say that is because I don't want to be mean, and I'm gonna let it. Hold on, let me smell JC's glass here. Sorry.
I'll tell you what. As we sat here and it opened up, and this is the second pour, I now taste the maple.
Yeah.
It lightened up a lot.
See, JC's glass is still open, but it opened to more of the burn. It opened to more of the alcohol. Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip of it.
I mean, the nose does still, the burn is there, but I feel
All
like
right.
I'm drinking.
All right. So the reason I started it like that, saying that, we started with the wrong ones, is I think this is Old Elk's lowest proof that we've had at 88. It's something that they did, and I know it won accolades and it has everything, but I'm just not feeling this one, boys.
Well, so let me throw this out there. Because, I mean, when bourbon started spiking, I got into bourbon a few years back, and I actually started with Scotch. I wanted to learn Scotch, and I ended up transitioning to bourbon. So I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of documentaries, and I read a few books. And there's two views on bourbon. There's the old school and the new school, right? And a lot of the old school bourbon guys won't touch anything under 90 proof, 100 proof.
Yep.
It doesn't matter the complexity. It's like you're watering down my bourbon. I know what I like. I like what I like. New school guys will look into all the complexities and all that stuff and what comes into to bourbon and the journey and all the bullshit. The old school guys like what they like. I'm very much so old school, and I started with a low proof bourbon, like what is it called? Oh my god, it's gonna drive me nuts. It's 80 proof.
See,
A lot of people.
No, it comes it comes in a wine looking bottle.
The
it's a good
wine,
it's
the
a
horse
good
wine looking bottle. Penelope.
and it has like a manila tag. It's kind of yellowish.
is it Penelope?
That's
thought that's what it
Basil
was.
Hayden.
Pinhook.
Basil
Basil
Hayden.
Hayden.
So
Basil Hayden.
it was my go-to because I was a starting bourbon drinker. I don't
Yeah.
know, this-
It's not back there. It's on that side.
So I started with Basil Hayden. It was 80 proof, something like that. It's an easy drinker. It's a good transition to good bourbon. And when I looked into reviews, they're like, horse shit, don't buy it. You're watering down your bourbon.
You
And-
weren't here for it. Basil Hayden. We had the Basil Hayden 10 year.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
Dog water.
So you have the people
Sorry, I
that
couldn't.
actually drink bourbon that are going to dog that out. But kind of like Wellers. I fucking can't stand Wellers, but there's people that love Wellers, right?
Yes. And
So-
yeah.
Back to this point, 88 proof is under the proofing of what quote unquote bourbon connoisseurs are going to like, new school or old school. It is under. 90 proof, I think, is a benchmark. 100 proof plus, more of the old
That's
school
barrel
guys.
proof, right? That's barrel proof is where.
Barrel proof is where it starts.
Right.
But 90 proof is where kind of the benchmark.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
anything under 90, I'm going to question it, which I didn't say anything, but I questioned this. It's only 2%. You can taste it.
You can taste it. Well, and for me, and here's, I like that you said it earlier, like people like what they like. Like this just ain't for me. Like, and that's going to play into my rating. But, and you know what's odd about it? We've talked about this before. I love chocolate. Like legitimately.
The man. sets aside time and allots himself one Reese's Pieces.
I love chocolate. All right. And this one being chocolate, I get it. It's on the back of my tongue. I just think that going with this malted barley is, I can take the rye. I can take the dryness of a rye bourbon because it still has some sweetness to it. It has some flavor. For me, even with the one that's been sitting open, JC's Glass, I don't like the weight and that almost, I guess, peat on my tongue. I don't, from a bourbon, I like the flavor that's there, but I don't like what they did with the malted barley.
I think it is kind of their niche bourbon in this line.
Yeah.
Where I don't want to say they made a mistake, but they have their other three, which we know are very good. Mm-hmm. But they're also, and I think we've all agreed, they're more for not an experienced bourbon drinker, but somebody that can understand the complexity.
The complexity of bourbon, yeah.
They needed something that they could give out with a fancy name like bourbon, straight, rye, whatever. Right?
What's the cost of this? Because that's going to play into
they're currently sold out on the website, but the cost that I saw was $49 to $59.
And everything else is about 69, right?
Is about 60 to 69.
Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
I think I'm still going to say it's like a dessert bourbon for me.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But I think that appeals to people that are not bourbon drinkers.
See, you guys want to see? I think I disagree with you on. I wouldn't give this to somebody who doesn't drink bourbon.
No, I'm not saying you would give it because you have a certain perception.
No, but what I mean by that is like I feel like if I gave this to somebody who didn't drink bourbon, the amount of burn that's in it for us, it's not low. But again,
I know, but
people who don't drink bourbon.
Let me flip it. What if you are a person that sees Old Elk on the shelf?
Yeah,
and they're all lined up, 49, 60, 69. 75.
No,
right?
and
wait.
Okay.
And then that person who doesn't drink bourbon a ton just grabs this bottle. Okay? Not a bourbon drinker, but they grab it.
I think this would stop them from drinking bourbon.
I don't think so. See, I disagree.
See, that's what I was going to.
I think they would go, wow, this is what bourbon tastes like?
I think
this is sweet.
I think that it's that tinge. It's that, I don't know.
But again, here's the other piece.
Yep.
Beginning bourbon drinker will put this on ice.
Yes. Okay.
So you put water in this or an ice cube in this.
Yes.
I think that tinge goes away. Mm-hmm. It gets watered down, and to me, this is. Oh man,
I'll be right back.
I don't know what that would do. I don't know.
What I'm saying is,
an ice cube would.
It's like the people that drink Screwball whiskey.
Oh shoot.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's a certain person that drinks Screwball whiskey and they goes, oh my god, this is the fucking greatest thing ever. It's like peanut butter Reese's, but I can get drunk off of it, right? I don't know. I think it's a niche bourbon. I personally, I don't mind the flavor. I think it's a weird juxtaposition of the chocolate and the tinge, but we've also drank 50 different bottles of bourbon at this point, right?
So Screwball, Mandalay Bay has this, what are they called?
The casino?
No, Yes, it's a fucking casino.
The bar?
It's a speakeasy.
Oh, yeah. Got
and they do a Screwball old fashioned. And you know me, I like 140 proof, kick in the face. Yeah. It's actually really good.
No,
I ordered it and I was like, I'm going to hate this. I was like, I hate that I like this so much. But I know what you said was spot on.
It's a price point thing.
Who would drink this?
I am an average consumer.
I have no idea because I'm kind of stuck in the middle of both of you. I don't know who would drink this. There's someone for this bourbon. Not my wheelhouse, but if I see this at a party, I'm gonna I'll drink it. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's a good bourbon, but it's not my wheelhouse.
Because they sponsored it and sent us the bottles.
And it's not because they sent us the bottle and they sponsored it. It's a good bourbon. It's not my wheelhouse. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But as far as my opinion, it's a good bourbon. It's not for me, but if I see it at a party, I know what I'm getting. I'll drink it.
To your point, I think it's a niche bourbon. It is. They made it for a very specific consumer that doesn't drink a lot of whiskey, but will dabble in the sweetness of certain things, and they put it at a price point that if you line it up, and it's obviously going to be the same spot on the shelf as all their other shit, and they go, $49 versus $69, I'm going to save $20 and try this, and it's not to bring up the drug cartel. It almost
I
can
fucking
see
look
it.
at me about the drug
I can
cartel.
see it. Then
Jesus.
getting like hooked on, okay, this is what bourbon could potentially taste like. They don't have the sophistication and the tasting experience to go, well, you know what? It is kind of weird that there's like chocolate and coconut and maple, but I can also have this weird tinge that I don't really love with the peatiness, and the proof is a little bit too low.
So an
You know what I mean?
intermediate bourbon drinker, because a beginner's not going to know
I don't know.
any of that
You
shit.
you did it with water.
Yeah.
What's
well,
up?
Well,
and
and then hold on. So at the cost, if you see the other ones, you're saving $20.
I do like this is the first one we're actually arguing.
yeah.
about.
Give me
Hold
give
on.
me your glasses.
Hold
give me
on.
your glass.
At the cost, if you see this and it's $20 less,
Right.
you're gonna say, "All right, I'm gonna take a little bit off of my
Correct.
my criticism and just enjoy it and be open minded."
And
about
if I'm a
$20
brand,
makes that.
and I want somebody to eventually buy my $70 bottle of bourbon,
you're gonna go back and say, "Okay, let's
I'm
try
gonna
the good
I'm gonna
shit.
start stepping up.
Let's see what $20 gets me."
Exactly.
All right. So I went and I grabbed the water dropper for those listening on audio. Just because I got to do my due diligence. I got to try it. Because Jemison, you're right, 100%. Most people aren't.
I'm
gonna
not saying you're wrong.
No,
I'm
I know. You're right though.
He's not wronging you.
I would venture to say that no, 80%.
but he's telling you he doesn't agree.
80 to 85% of
Strongly.
people who drink bourbon are going to put it on rocks.
Right.
That just what's going to happen. And we do all of them neat,
He said, "Doo-doo."
right? I will say that the flavor changes with the 2 drops of water.
And you know, water does influence. So an old fashioned, you can make an old fashioned neat. Is it good? No. The ice makes a difference. The ice waters it down and makes the old fashioned too.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
It actually
I-
accentuates the burn a little bit.
Yes. I can admit it. I'm man enough to admit it. Yes, the water changes it. The
does.
water changes it.
I-
for sure.
But I agree with you in the context of we have drank a ton of good bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
and we go very in depth with what it tastes like and what's on the nose and all these different things. But it takes away a little bit of that.
Complexity.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes a level
Yeah,
of complexity.
because I mean, think
out.
about it, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the difference between myself and a regular bourbon drinker. I bought a $3,000 refrigerator for one reason. For one reason, and that reason was it makes its own molded
Balled
ice
ice.
bowls,
Yeah.
and I have a regular ice maker.
And
But
I
bought
was
it,
going
I
to say
went-
something because I didn't know where you were going with it, but worth it. I've tried to make
exactly.
clear ice
So-
and all that shit. It's
right.
a pain in the
so
ass.
It's
what
horrible.
I'm saying is, like, from my perspective, yes, I agree with you and you 100%. This bourbon, not my cup of tea. I'll drink it. My rating's not going to be great for it. I'll be honest, Old Elk, it just won't, right? But
And I still love
think
you
there's a
guys.
reason. But I
Thank
also
you.
believe that they just like fucking, I don't know, every goddamn product manufacturer makes something to get a consumer interested in that product.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If
Yeah.
I buy an iPhone SE and I play with it, I'm like, man, this is a great phone. You know, it's $600. The next time I go to upgrade, the percentage of people that go, well, you know, I like it, but I want a better camera. So now
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the iPhone Pro. You know what? I love the camera, and I love the graphics on the screen, but I want more because I'm using it for entertainment. Now I'm going to go to the iPhone Pro Max. Now you've just stepped that person up from $600 to $1,400 in 3 phones, 3 product cycles. I think these guys are doing a really good job of getting somebody to go, I'm going to spend $40 to $49 on this. I'm going to try it. It's sweet, which we know profiles of bourbon, the sweetness will resonate with people that don't drink bourbon a ton. They get used to it. They go, you know what? I'm going to try their $59 bottle. And they go, okay, now it's a little more complex. Now I'm going to try their $69. Now all of a sudden you got people drinking the weeded or whatever it is, and they're spending $70 a bottle versus $50.
I hope
think that's what it is.
the mindset behind it.
yeah,
Because
I'm
that
there with you on
mindset
that.
makes,
I'm there with you. On
Yeah.
that.
marketing
what it
wise,
is.
that makes total sense.
It's,
Yeah.
To me, it's
I'm
genius.
not mad at this bourbon.
No, I'm not either.
For
I
40
just
bucks,
wanna know-
for 40
I-
bucks, I'm even less mad at this
I
bourbon.
want to know who they went up against in 2020
For this,
for that gold accolade, world's best spirit.
Basil
competition.
Hayden.
I would drink this over the 10
They went up against. No, I was gonna throw larceny in it, but I love larceny.
I just
Every
bought a
day.
bottle of larceny last night. Yeah, fuck the 10
Yeah,
year
like, no.
That's a joke.
that pissed me
That's
off.
just lying. That's false advertising. I don't even think it's 10 years. I think it's like 3 years. They just dumped a bunch of
Right.
syrup in it. Maybe it was 10-year aged maple fucking Mrs.
water.
Butterworth. Like, oh,
Yeah.
here it is.
You know,
I will
I've,
say,
I've,
though-
I've had through this podcast and myself reaching out to try different bourbons. I've had some unfortunate bourbons, and I'm like, and they're still in. when everybody comes to my house like, oh, you have a good bourbon collection. No, I don't. I have bourbon because I don't collect. I drink it.
Same.
I drink everything. And if you come to my house and I have the same bottle, it's because it's a shit bottle.
Yeah.
I have a few bottles like that.
Hey, you can.
I bought that rum cask Breckenridge,
You can
and it stayed in my freaking thing, and then I brought it here, and we all hated it. And I like Breckenridge. Your original stuff is great. I love it. Old Fashions, I love your shit. But that rum cask?
Yeah, you can relate to this with JC's house, right? If you looked at his bourbon collection in his house, I'm like, how do you not just drink all of this right now? I don't understand.
Yes.
But yeah,
I walked in and I was like, you got Wellers? I used to have Wellers.
I think it's interesting too that the 2 drops of water actually accentuate the burn a little bit more.
It did. It allowed the alcohol to come through.
And
so,
the
which
tail
makes
end
sense
is no longer,
though,
yes,
because it broke up the malted
Hold
barley.
on,
correct.
I'm gonna throw some out. You know me, I have weird flavor profiles. The lingering flavor to me is.
Oh wait, let me guess. A car tire after a burnout.
No.
Oh damn.
French fries.
Really?
Drink some. Let it linger and tell me it doesn't taste like French fries.
Who's French fries?
McDonald's.
There's a lot of salt.
I mean, it does go with the salted caramel.
All right. So let's go ahead and give the ratings, the actual rock ratings for Old Elk
I don't see
Straight.
it.
Let it
Straight
linger. No, it's not. It's
bourbon
not right away.
whiskey.
It's like as we talk, you're gonna be like, oh, French fries. That's
Now,
right.
now I just want to go buy some French fries.
I am going to put this right at about a 4.3.
I am surprised.
Me too.
I thought you were going to go over a 5.
Me too.
I can't because
Well, the way you talked about it.
Oh yeah, I thought you
going
were gonna
7.
trash it.
no,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but compared to the
You're
other
better
Old
than
Elks
I
that we
am. Put it that way, and I'm nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
Compared to the other Old Elks that we've had, I feel like this one it lacks a little bit. It's definitely what you said is trying to bring people in, give it a little bit more complex
one. I like
flavor.
the last one better than this one.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Weeded. What'd you have weeded at?
I gave Weeded a 4.
So this is just above weeded.
Yeah, just above Weeded. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah,
You want
4.3
to go?
for me.
Just because, and Old Elk, thank you for this. I love that you let us.
Hey,
do
we
this.
told them that we were going to review and
Yeah,
not,
and
not hold punches.
For me,
yeah.
I am not a dessert guy. Especially if I'm gonna go dessert, I'm gonna drink a port or
Yep.
some fancy Italian shit. That's who I am. When it comes to bourbon, I know what I like, and I'm gonna drink bourbon either before I eat my meal or if I'm just enjoying a cigar. I like bourbon for what it is. It stays in its lane in my life. This one, it's a Basil Hayden with more complexity for me, and I don't buy Basil Hayden anymore. It's a good bourbon. It's a good starter bourbon. It has its place. This one for me is a 6.
Woo.
All right.
It's just not my wheelhouse.
Got that.
It's good if I go to a party.
Actually, no, that makes sense.
If
that
I
makes
see it at a party, I'm gonna be
Yes.
like, oh, Old Elk. Ooh,
I'm gonna grab the Old Elk over an Eagle Rare.
But
I'm gonna grab
you
the
know
Old
what?
Elk over
for the
a Jack.
price. I'm not mad at it.
Well, I think what
If they had
Oscar would-
nothing else, I'm like,
No.
hell yeah. Let's
I think
go.
what Oscar would do though, and just because I know like his flavor profile, is if he goes to a party and it's a nice bourbon, he'll just pour himself like a little, maybe a 2-finger, with maybe a rock and just enjoy it. He sees this, it's a 4-finger, probably neat, and he's getting turned.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely right. It's 80 proof, baby. I gotta go 4 fingers.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is. I think it's
That's
4 fingers.
great.
Now it's better than if I see a bourbon, you're like, this is a good bourbon, and I know what it's like. I'm gonna go grab it, throw some ice, pour about 4 fingers, and throw a Coke in it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I still wouldn't throw Coke.
That's disrespectful. This one, I would not disrespect it. I wouldn't even throw rocks in it. It's just not my wheelhouse.
All right, I got 2 ratings.
All right.
Okay, my first one is a 2.
What?
Okay.
Da-da-da.
What a twist.
For 2 reasons. Price, marketing. I think this is brilliant.
You
this is the
where it's
first
coming from.
bourbon, and we haven't done a lot of bourbon lines, so I think it'd be interesting to start doing that as like its own thing, right? But this is the first distillery that I have seen. Because, like, for example, Smoke Wagon, to your point, stays
They're
in
a
their
bourbon.
lane.
They're a
But
bourbon.
what I'm saying is they stay in their lane. They're not
Yeah.
trying to, like, get people to, like, dabble
It
in
is what it
Smoke
is.
Wagon. It is what it is, and
Oh,
it is
wait,
what
wait.
it is in 4 different ways.
Time
right?
out. Speaking of smoke, that reminded me. It's the 90th anniversary
Prohibition.
of the
Repeal of Prohibition.
repeal
Right.
of Prohibition.
So pop those bottles, people.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, drink some bourbon.
but-
Smoke Wagon,
Right.
what
I'm
I
gonna-
sent you, The uncut was up top.
But I'm going to say the same thing for like Weller, right? You got Weller, you got Bland's, you got Eagle Rare, you got E.H. Taylor. None of those are built to like bring people
Entice.
in or entice. This is the first brand that I've had that I think this is their hook. And I applaud them for it because I think what they did, and you guys, Old Elk, you can tell me,
Call
I
us
think
up.
they did
Let
it
us
on
know.
purpose to cast a very large net at an attractive price, knowing that once people got this, they would start to move up in their line.
Because
so
for
that's
$40
why that's why my first rating's a 2.
No,
Right?
and to add to yours, that you're spot on, at least in that realm of
Yeah.
business. Because if I see a $40 bottle of Jack Daniels and I see a $40 bottle of Old Elk, I'm gonna go for the Old Elk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do the little
All right,
the
so
tree
what's-
trunk, whatever. My other rating
Yeah.
on this one, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to compare it to. I'm at about like a 4 or 5, I would say.
Wow,
Yeah, but again, it's your flavor profile, right? You're
Yeah.
not a sweet. That's not where you've gone in any of the ratings, right? If it's sweet, you tend to rate higher than both of us. And I still say I'm in between both of you guys as far as my flavor profile. I like it. I think the droplets added something that wasn't there 5 minutes beforehand. Without the water, though, I'm probably at a 5.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think the water allowed the alcohol to separate, which gave it a little bit more complexity.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
4.5.
it filtered out the flavors.
2 for marketing because I think I know what you guys are doing, and I think it's genius.
$40.
I like it.
It's a great bourbon for $40.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on another weekly
Wait,
episode
I'm not done rating this.
of Real
I was a
Estate
little
Served on the
long-winded. I'm
Rocks.
sorry.
Remember, guys, you can find us on YouTube at Living in Colorado, The Mile High Perspective. We don't just do this podcast. We have community spotlights, new build home tours, all that kind of stuff coming up for you. And at any point in time, please feel free to reach out to us. The number, the email goes to all of us, and we'd love to talk to you. You can reach out to us via email at resotr@themilehighperspective.com or give us a ring.
303-578-0263.
And all of us will be more than happy to talk with you. Thank you guys for going on the journey with us and exploring all Old Elk has to offer. They do have a couple
Thank
more
you, Old
bottles. But yeah, thank you so much, Old Elk, for letting us review and being a sponsor and a partner in this. We appreciate you. But guys, have a great week. Start to prepare. We'll catch you later. Cheers.
Cheers.